latest shot at that. And we've been working on building our own world model for the last year. So anyone who is building something on a world model or building a world model wants to talk about it more. We've definitely got an informed opinion on this whole space. So come and grab me afterwards. I'll be around. But I'll try and cover as much as I can right now and talk a little bit about XR and is this the thing that's going to make XR happen? The core of the whole idea of XR, like not even particular products, gets down to point one. Point one is really about all the sensors and the hardware and sort of bringing all this information in, but the hard part is like understanding what the camera is seeing, what the device is seeing. And so far, the experience kind of looks like this. You use, Meta's glasses or something similar.
It's true.
They do a very bad job of barely detecting what objects are. And definitely not enough to be useful at all. But the AI is moving fast, and what a world model is really one type of world model is this model that comes after video models. So we started with models that could do text, they do chat really well. Then you got images and the number of tokens that you had to train on went from 150,000 English words to as many pixels on your screen and the color depth of those pixels. Then you got to video, and you could generate video quite well. The models again got bigger and bigger and bigger, more expensive, and they worked pretty well if you didn't worry about hallucinations too much. And what a world model means today is it's like the next step in generative AI, where you take a video model and then you train a whole bunch of rules, laws of physics, the physics engine type stuff into it, so that hopefully the video that it generates is 3D, it's coherent over long periods of time, and it behaves correctly as if it is a video of the physical world, or even if it's a fantasy world, it behaves as if it's a physical place. Gravity works, physics works, all that sort of stuff. I guess the amazing thing about this chart is this idea of the bitter lesson. That refers to an idea that came up a while ago where people thought getting clever about the algorithms they used to create AI would solve a lot of the problems, but it just got proven over and over again that you just throw more data, more compute, and let it churn away, and it solves the problems. And it's one of those sort of hard lessons to sort of get your head around, but it's held so far, really effectively, and that it's why you're seeing all these AI startups getting billions of funding. It's why NVIDIA is so valuable. It's why you're getting companies that are in the business of doing data collection are doing so well right now. But when it comes to world models, there's a problem with this. That is kind of a bet that different startups are making. Probably 99% of when you hear the term world model is talking about this sort of idea. And the problem comes down to what the physical world is, and it's almost a philosophical problem. The problem at the root of this is, can these models actually understand the physical world? The world isn't discrete, it isn't tokens that can represent everything that might possibly happen in the world. And you dig into this and it becomes a philosophical problem. And it comes down to this idea of, can we understand the world without any language capability? Where all of our models so far have been language models. And the flip side of that is language alone enough to understand the physical world? And back in the 50s or so, there was a philosopher, Martin Heidegger, who made an argument. His argument was that, no, to understand the world, we need a direct action, direct understanding of the world. And the illustration he used was that I could spend the next hour describing a hammer to everyone, like what it is, how it works, where it came from. I could just talk for a full hour, tell you everything that could possibly want to know about a hammer. And at the end of that hour, could you really understand what a hammer is? Or do you need to pick it up and hammer something in order to understand what it is? And the language models are taking that former approach. You know, throw more language at the problem and you the other one. There's another type of world model that's starting to get some credibility right now. The fun part is that for anyone who's been in XR for a while, you recognise this whole semantics, fun games, and that's really happening in world models right now. Everyone is throwing that term around. But what I'm talking about is this, everything that's called a world model today, we need a different type of world model, which is a model that instead of generating tokens and trying to understand the world through language, starts to be able to understand the world directly in order not to make more pixels or make a simulated world, but to be able to look at the world and actually understand what it sees and then let you act in a useful, meaningful way on the bottom of that. So, predictive world model is kind of the term that might stick for that, we'll see. But the issue with generative world models, we've seen in companies like World Labs is quite well known, but there's a whole bunch of them out there now, is what are those ones good for? Really, it comes down to what can you do with these generated pixels, and the two use cases that are about the only two that seem to be getting some use out of these things is simulations. You create a simulated world and then use that simulated world to train a robot. So you're kind of building models to create data to train more models. I don't know if that's a sort of sustainable long-term path. And the other one, which kind of taps into VR anyway, is this idea of entertainment. Gaming, 3D environments for gaming that are generated on the fly as you move around, interactive content that's generated on the fly and behaves like consistently in the world. Right now, that kind of works, but it's just insanely expensive and it's not very well controlled. I read the other day about one of these companies that is sort of hosting these generated world models, and they're getting for each user you need like an NVIDIA H200 GPU, one per user to run a stream. I don't know if anyone's spinning up their own GPUs, but that's tens of thousands of dollars a month, just per user. So they're not working that well yet. The difference with a predictive world model, and this idea has been championed most vocally by a guy called Yann LeCun, who's one of the godfathers of AI. His approach is called, his approach to this is called JEPA, J-E-P-A, and what it is that it learns concepts directly, and that you train it in a totally different way. Instead of trying to connect language to images, like generative models do, you just basically let it watch videos by itself. And it's a lot like the way babies learn. They just sit there, they watch the room. Eventually they kind of get the idea that this is something familiar. It might be the family dog, it might be a parent, it might just be, it learns dropping things. That's kind of what happens when you drop things. But it doesn't have language for any of this stuff. It has this direct observation and a conceptual understanding of how the world works. You then, once that kind of works, you then need to train a model to teach it language. So it's sort of two models. The language model is still there, but it's really just used to interpret the concepts into a way that we can, either we can communicate it with it, or it can communicate with other devices. But what does that mean for XR? The magic of these predictive models that directly understand the world is it's like a higher level of abstraction. Once you're out of pixel space, thinking about concepts, it's a lot less data to manage. A way to think about that is if I asked each of you to imagine the house you grew up in as a child, if your brain was a generative model, you would generate a pixel perfect image of that house, and you'd pay attention to every single detail. But we don't do that. Like, what we have is just these vague concepts of what particular rooms or what it smelled like or things we did in those rooms. And so it's a lot less data to store and to manage, but it gives us that ability to sort of act on it and remember it. It also means these models are much more robust. Anyone who's either built or tried to use a computer vision system, any AR system, to try and localize or reconstruct or do any of these kind of basic things, recognize what objects were, they're incredibly brittle. You change the lighting, a cloud goes over the sun, something happens in the background of the scene, and the whole model breaks. And that's just been a real issue with making these products that are going to work anywhere in the world, outside of a controlled sort of factory environment. When you understand the concept of a thing, you can ignore the type of camera, the focal length of the camera, what's happening in the background. And these models are incredibly robust at recognizing situations or objects when the world is changing around it. Similar to, like I show here, a robot crossing the street. That's pretty much an impossible task to this day for a robot. And even if you can get it to cross one particular intersection, the fact that it can cross that street doesn't mean it can cross a street in another city where everything kind of looks different, or at night time. Where a child, you can teach it how to cross the street maybe 10 times, and you can be pretty sure it'll be able to cross that street safely anywhere in the world from there onwards, because they understand the concepts around is it safe or not safe, rather than trying to look at every single pixel on the scene. And the last bit, these models, why I'm excited for them for XR, is that they are small. They're much more efficient, orders of magnitude more efficient in the amount of data to train them, the amount of compute required to train them, and the amount of compute and memory to run inference on those models. So the issue with the bitter lesson that I talked about before is that even if that's right and it holds, and none of these clever ways of building world models play out, and what is the best way is just throwing more and more data and compute at it. At the end of the day, for devices to be able to understand the physical world, the model needs to run in real time on the device. And so that you're ultimately going to be limited by watts, by power, not by the size of the model or the data set that you're running. So that size is a huge advantage to these things. So quickly, where are we today? The generative models, they're being built, they exist, you can try them. They're probably not ready for commercial use at any time soon. They've had literally billions and billions of funding has been poured into these startups, and they're doing really cool demos. Predictive models don't really exist yet. They're still in research mode. They're giving amazing academic research results.
Oh, this is your seat.
We will be the first company to ship one of these in the next month or two. But it's sort of a year, 2 years behind the generative world model space. So anyone kind of thinking about playing around with this stuff, don't, unless you're going to build a startup building these things, don't start a startup betting on them coming around to exist before you run out of runway. So my position, my bet on this stuff is that I've started Primate Intelligence because I think these predictive world models are going to be the thing that solves not just useful XR, but robotics, autonomous vehicles, drones, pretty much anything, smart cameras in the world, anything that needs to be able to understand the physical world is going to be powered by predictive world models at some point. And the proof of that is that these models already exist. There's billions and billions of creatures out there that quite successfully move around and interact with the physical world that have either zero or very limited language capability, and they can work, they do work, and happily live in the world. So I'll stop there, 30 seconds to go. I'll be outside, come and grab me. This is a deep topic. I can talk for hours and hours about it. But it's, I think, going to unlock everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so so much. So the next session is gonna be really special because we are having two platforms coming here now on the stage
Question.
where you can ask
Do you know who I can
questions.
talk to about getting the
and,
slides
I'm gonna
emailed
walk
to me so I can
around
post them on
and
the AR
pass on the
subreddit,
mic.
the slides?
So I think this
Do you
is
know who
a
could maybe
really
email
amazing
those slides to
opportunity
me?
to
That
also
guy is
see
the
how do
organizer,
these
so-
Where,
platform
him?
things
Talking?
think
Yeah.
and
Okay, perfect.
how
I'll talk to him
can
about
you
it
get
when
we're
engaged with
done.
them, how
Kicked
can
off.
be
either
part
him
of
or
the
Ian
program.
Okay. Yeah, I
And,
shook his hand earlier.
Really, any
The
questions
guy
that
who
is
did,
on your mind right now.
pipe
So
fitting.
please
Terry-
welcome on
Terry
stage
Schussler?
Vinny
Had
Da
a
Silva
link to his
and David
Yeah,
Schmaltz.
I got the QR code, but I need to get the rest of the slides for all the other talks. All right, I think we're taking a break right now, aren't we? I'm gonna. Yeah, this is going on the AR subreddit. I'm one of the mods on the sub.
Oh.
Yeah, on the AR sub, I'm one of the mods. I was gonna post this there. I already posted part 1 of this video. It was 45 minutes. I was recording the entire thing from the beginning until like after
That's cool.
until
For people
after a few people.
Horn may not be super excited.
Hi friends, good morning.
I mean, I don't know what
Quick
to
question here, how many engineers we got in the
I
audience?
guess.
Yeah. How many designers? Yeah, cool, awesome. Product folks. All right, jack of all trades. All of you should
Lot of
put your
hands,
up.
lot of
Sorry,
hands.
That's how it goes,
Yeah, I'm
right?
just a
Like, you do
marketer, man.
everything.
just
So
a
my name is Vinny Da
connector.
Silva. At Google, I focus on Android XR, and I'm super happy to chat with all of you, meeting a bunch of new friends and seeing a bunch of old friends, which is absolutely exciting. And today I'll be chatting a little bit with you about the Android XR platform, which powers both augmented and immersive experiences across a spectrum of devices, from immersive devices like the Samsung's Galaxy XR, to lightweight all-day wear like the display and audio glasses, and the recently announced or talked about Project Aura device from Xreal. So that's really exciting for our development community, and very excited to chat with all of you about what today.
Is he from Xreal?
Cool.
The guy that just spoke?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the guy that's speaking now or him? Is it the guy that was speaking or the guy that's going to speak?
Cool.
I think I think it's him. I think it's him. This is a Chinese company. It might be him. Yeah. Pretty sure it's this guy.
Okay, it's not showing up on the screen.
Alright. There we go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's him.
Great. Before I forget, the slides aren't coming out, so I'll just go ahead and start. Hey everybody, I'm David Gino from Pico. And
Pico XR,
Some of you
yeah.
here are here because of the theme of this year's AWA regarding iSpatial and interested about AI
Oh, yeah.
and XR.
Two
Okay, cool.
hands.
This is a different representation when I was at Georgia Tech just last month, where it was split. There was actually a lot of people that weren't interested in the merging of XR and AI. But I'm really excited here, as long as with my guest Vinny,
Builder
to
to founder.
talk about the excitement
This is
around
Vinny Da
AI
Silva.
and increasing productivity. We're entering a new stage where developers are in flux, especially around the XR community. We've been hearing the same story before. It's always going to be next year. And we're now getting to the point
That is a
where
cycle.
we're using AI to be a lot more productive, to save time as developers, to prototype and get feedback, to then feel very secure about the next stage of funding. And that's what we'll be talking about with some of the Q&A in terms of how do you work with a platform like a Pico, like a Google, to get your products noticed and into the store and to get the support that you need at the end of the day to be self-sustaining. So with that being said, I had a couple of slides, but they're not showing up. I don't know why.
OEMs,
That's not the
users.
slide, but it's the Google slide. But either way, there's a QR code on the presentation. But you can come visit Google at their Qualcomm booth, and then of course at Pico we have our own booth on the
That's
main
booth
expo
911
floor.
for the Xreal demo.
so
You can demo
all of
Xreal
you
Project
can,
Aura there. Booth
Here we
911.
go.
Okay, perfect.
There we go. There's the QR
Everyone
code.
can take a snap of this photo. We will be giving developer swag bags at certain times.
That sounds
at the exhibit
awesome.
floor. I think it's
I love
really
swag.
awesome. So
Swag
there's one
bags.
store. Please show us that you registered on our Discord channel as a developer, and you'll receive a welcome bag. Okay, so enough. This is going to be a QA session, so we'll go ahead and start. Dinesh.
So please, anybody who has a question, raise your hand, and I'm gonna pass the mic and
then we can have a conversation. Well, that's easy.
What are the various technologies that the individual platforms support? Like I know Pico does Web Spatial and Unity and stuff like that.
It's Project
So
Aura.
what are your preferred tech
Dev
stacks
Catalyst
and what are the ones you
program. It's Project Aura right
Great,
there on the
I'll
top.
go first. In terms of the tech stacks we support, of course, we want to support this new wave of new blood coming into XR. So of course, with Web Spatial, we allow anyone that builds a website today, whether you speak HTML, can build a React page, just using our SDK, you can turn it into a spatial app. We've run several hackathons this year, which is really exciting, exploring XR and AI use cases. So with Web Spatial, we realized that developers wanted to integrate agents and also have their agents talk to other agents using MCP, also exploring different ways of agentic AI to have endless real estate. So you can now, in your headset, be able to command your AI agents or even see how you can represent them. Some unique use cases where that some people actually redesigned the agent experience where they designed it like an RTS game. So you can see how performant your agents are. So a lot of really interesting things happening around the web. Other stack that we're really excited about is our Pico OS 6. It's the most open developer platform. You can build, whether it's through game engine, whether it's through web, whether it's an Android app, it just works in our headset. And through OpenXR, you can incorporate fully immersive experience. But what's really unique about Pico OS 6, not only being the most open for developers, is that we're able to now provide developer support through our Discord channels, which we'll be announcing during AWE, which will be
Discord.
fully automated, and so we can get the questions that you need answered. So Pico OS, to answer your question, Pico OS 6 that is really open, supports game engines, supports Android apps, and of course Web Spatial, which is an open source platform. So we want all your feedback that you can contribute to our platform for the Web Spatial SDK. Eddie?
Thanks, David. So Android XR supports, well, first of all, I want to say, just like Pico, Android XR embraces the open standards, right? So we are big proponents of OpenXR and all of the game engines along with it. So we have Unity for a long time. We've recently announced support for Godot and support for Unreal. So, we're doing something. And as well as for traditional Android developers, so one of the big things that we're looking to do is that there are over 3 million Android devices out there, and people are building natively for Android, and it's a really big opportunity for developers that are not traditionally in XR to bring their applications over, right? So we have the JetXR SDK. So our philosophy is that, out of the box, Android apps are going to work, right? So you put on a headset or you put on glasses, you're going to have a lot of that functionality working out of the box. Either it'll show up as a 2D UI, or we will pull in like notifications, video playback, and all sorts of things like that. That's your standard Android. And then you have the opportunity to extend it, right? So we have what we call the Jetpack Scene Core, which allows you to bring a lot of 3D content. We have AR Core, which is something that a lot of folks are probably familiar with here. So we've introduced AR Core for Jetpack XR, that it allows you to have perception capabilities as well. And yeah, so between all that, we have
These, I've seen this slide before.
all the array of devices we support. But I think the really important question,
XR headsets,
as well as
XR
WebXR,
glasses,
is what
wireless,
tools do you need?
AI
Because what
glasses.
we're looking to do is to go to where developers are, right? We know how hard it is to create a business in XR. We know that it takes a lot of investment and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And what we want to make sure is that what you're doing today is going to be working in various platforms, so that way you can make a sustainable business in the long run.
Awesome, thank you guys. Next question.
Over here.
Any hand? There's one already.
Over here.
Second.
Oh. Thank you. It's a very short question. I was just wondering, and I know this may not be at the end of the broadcast. I mean, not the broadcast, the talks yet. But is there anyone who can email these slides to myself or the owner of the AR subreddit, because I manage it? The slides for each and every presentation in this workshop today, because I wanted to post them to Reddit.
I will try to answer that. I'm gonna talk to the AWE team and then.
Awesome. If you can get them to
touch.
me, that'd be great. I'll just post them on Reddit.
Yes. I mean,
Awesome.
maybe you guys can do this as well.
Maybe like an email or something.
Cool.
Okay.
Other questions for
Augmented reality.
Android XR and
AR
Pico?
subreddit.
There we go.
r/augmented reality.
Do you guys support like peripheral devices through like Bluetooth or for standalone use? Because I know currently with like SteamVR you can build drivers for your external peripherals, but do you support that with the headsets?
So, again, going back to our operating system and being open, we do give access, like for a previous hackathon, for Pico for Ultra. which is
that's
a
the one,
current
yeah.
headset.
That's the
We
subreddit.
just announced Project Swan at GDC, so thanks for that. So yes, you can utilize even external devices. We had, at a previous hackathon, we had actually someone connect an actual snowboard to loan and then smart soles to understand how to do simulation. So yes, trying to incorporate other devices into the program.
Was that for end users too, or do you have to build that into your like Unity?
You would probably have to build that into your Unity app, but we do have some features which will come online in terms of other opportunities. But for now, it'll be through Bluetooth.
Oh my.
Yeah, so Android XR is Android. So anything that you can do on Android, you should be able to do on Android XR. So anything related to Bluetooth peripherals, we have folks using controllers,
I
we have
actually
folks
do
using
have a
keyboards,
developer-friendly
using
question, but I
mouse.
didn't remember to ask
All
it.
that stuff will just work out of the box.
I was gonna ask
because
about
that's
the
all supported by
possibility of
Android.
auto-spatialization
That's
of
all we're
code
doing is
in
expanding that platform,
XR.
that ecosystem.
I was gonna ask about that. I should
But I'd love to hear what specific peripherals you'd like to work on. Let us know.
We're building VR gloves, so we wanted to include them.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Love to hear more.
Cool. There's another question.
Actually, I have one more if you don't mind. But this one is about
So yeah, about peripherals and
after that.
wearables.
After they go.
I'm curious about
Wait, where is he?
your products and the frame specific having sensors built in that are inclinometers perhaps for like detecting head position in space, and how peripheral can visual images show up lateral to field of vision. So just some sensor feedback questions having to do with peripheral vision and I guess peripheral space in 3 dimensions or more. Is that something capable to build into these IMERs?
So I'll start off with Android XR. So we have various head-worn devices from lightweight glasses. We even have glasses without displays that we announced with Gentle Monster and Warby Parker that will be
I saw
launching
that.
later this year.
Gentle
So those obviously don't have a display, so you won't be able to do that. But all of the devices that we are supporting have IMU, so inertial measurement units, so you can detect these things. And we have a common library across all of our form factors, which is AirCore for Jetpack XR. So using that as part of the perception stack, you should be able to get all sorts of 3D movement information. Obviously, some devices are going to have much richer 6 degrees of freedom. Other devices will have much more restricted 3 degrees of freedom, but that is available. And as far as where placement of content, as far as the display goes, that's really dependent on the device displays. But in Android XR, we have all sorts of APIs that allows you to query things like field of view, so that way you can always make sure that you're putting in the content where the user will see it.
And so for our headsets as well, being able to have SLAM, being able to have objects anchored into your real space and having pass-through cameras so you can see the real world mixed with the digital world. Those are all the capabilities. And similar, we also support all the other peripherals. That wasn't your direct question, keyboard and mouse as well.
Cool. We have another question.
Hey, Marty Murphy from Ringling College. I was working on my proposal
Ringling.
this morning, and the question that I have is like, how should colleges and universities think about that 6 to 12 month delivery point of view? Any suggestions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Pico has always had a great relationship within the education sector. A lot of people don't know, Pico has been around for 10 years. We got acquired by ByteDance 5 years ago. But we're actually the #1 in education enterprise rollouts. So working with universities is something that I really cherish because I can work with students that have the fresh ideas, and this is really, their technology that they'll be incorporating into the workforce. So the recommendations that I would give in terms of my experience, it's usually two different tracks. One is that you want to actually teach it in your curriculum. I actually recently worked with Stanford teaching XR VR 101 basics in game engine. And the second track is if you're a research lab and you have some cool research projects, come talk to me. We'll be at the booth. We'd be happy to learn more about your project.
Yeah, so Android XR as a platform is open, and I think the way that we're approaching it is that we are leveraging a lot of existing tooling that's out there. So from our perspective, the skills you have today, or the skills that students are learning today, should apply to Android XR, as well as lots of other platforms in the space, right? I think that's really important that we're not fragmenting the ecosystem so early. So it's really important that these devices and all this tooling works together. And as far as, Google has a long history of working with universities. A lot of research happens. We hire a lot of researchers. A lot of what we do is sort of very engineering first and computer science first. So that's just part of our pedigree.
I actually have a
so if you have specific discussions you want to talk about what we can enable in education space, we'd love to hear more about it. And I do want to apologize for my lack of voice. It's been a long weekend with the hackathon for those who are there. So I will do my best to speak clearly.
Awesome, thank you so much. There's one, this guy was first.
Thank you. In regards to peripherals, there's a lot of data that's on the Wear OS platform, and I'm wondering how much native work will the Android XR team actually install so that we can tap into some of the Wear OS data that's coming. I was at another hackathon in Germany, Empower XR, and we did some really crazy things to get that data out, but apparently there's a lot of easier ways. I'm wondering if you can speak to that.
So we're not ready to announce anything specific across Android devices right now. But what I will say is that Android works across televisions, auto, Wear, mobile, large screens, small screens, foldables, and it is absolutely part of the Android mission to make sure that these devices work incredibly well together and provide a really great user experience for end users and a lot of opportunity for developers. So yeah, nothing specific to share right now, but just wanted to let you know what our mission is.
All right, here we go.
So it's nice to have representatives from multiple platforms up here. As a cross-platform developer, we're starting to see like a big variety of different input methods depending on the affordances that the platform has, whether it's controllers and triggers, or hand tracking with eyes, and each of them opens up different possibilities. What are your recommendations, like current best practices for trying to kind of unify and streamline the development process for managing these different input methods across different platforms? Is it still, hey, do the OpenXR, action binding thing? Is that the best practice, or is there something else that's more modern that you guys are teeing up? What are your thoughts?
So we recognize that there's a lot of opportunity for input across Android XR specifically, but I think we see that across all of XR. And what we've been hearing from developers is that there's different modalities of input that is better for certain types of experiences than others, right? So there's a lot of folks who are building games, and they will never leave controllers, and that's totally okay, right? That is how they're delivering a lot of value to their users. And we would never want to get in the way of stopping that. Likewise, there's other situations where there's obviously hand input, but maybe not everybody has steady hands. Maybe eye gaze is better, right? So having this is also a matter of accessibility. Our approach to it is that we are providing all of this available to developers, and the best practice that we have is that developers should query the capabilities of the current device. Right, so that way you query whether the device has controllers, you can query whether the device has eye tracking, and you can adjust accordingly. And then from an SDK point of view and tooling point of view, we're trying to make it so that way you have to think about the least amount possible, so that way you don't have to maintain n number of input modalities. But if you have specific recommendations or questions, our team is here. We'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, the only thing that I would like to add, of course it's different trying to figure out inputs for mechanics of doing eye and hand tracking coordination from a video game that requires a lot of twitch movements versus like an enterprise app that is maybe on productivity or showcase. But yeah, I think the key here is just offering many opportunities for developers to pick their inputs, because all of them I see a future where they'll both all mature at the same time, because you don't really have a definitive form factor. Obviously playing like games that require high twitch movements or you're slashing, probably controllers are the best versus tracking the hands. So it just really depends on the experience. Was there anything specific that you wanted to ask that question?
Well, even in the use case of, hey, I've got the settings menu. How does the user click a particular button? Right? Do they use like the laser pointer with a controller? Do they gaze and pinch? Maybe there's no eye tracking on the device, and so maybe it's a direct hand tracking interaction. The developers have to, based on the affordances, the hardware of the device, make sure that their UI system supports all those different interaction models, which just makes development for SR harder. So I just trying to understand, like, is there anything like any coordination between the different platform holders to help us out there?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I don't think there's any standards for inputs today. Like, these are the best type of gestures that you should be doing. But that's a really good point. I think from an OS system, it's really just being able to allow whatever input they want to incorporate. It's really then up to the developer to design those experiences for this as well. Should we?
Yeah, I'll just add that at least on the Jetpack XR SDK and working natively, or even just bringing your traditional mobile app, all of the details it's abstracted away, right? Like you are creating a button's a button, and whether you activate it by pushing it in, or you activate it by using hand tracking, or whether you use a controller, that's abstracted away.
But if I'm using Jetpack, I'm only targeting Android XR. Right?
Yeah, well, sure.
I have to write
Okay.
something completely
So-
different for Vision Pro.
So we have, I won't speak fully because I'm not representing Unity or Godot or Unreal, but a lot of that tooling that is cross-platform has an opportunity to provide that, and we've been working with all of those tooling providers to help bridge those gaps. So yeah, we'll continue working, with the folks in the industry, but I totally hear your pain point. I know how frustrating it is to have to target multiple platforms, and that it takes a maintenance cost, and that is not something that is just free, and that's something that you as running a studio or a business need to really think about very seriously. So yeah, we'd love to hear more about it and see how we can sort of solve that pain point for you.
All right, we have time for one last question. I believe.
Howdy, I'm developing for OpenXR through Godot and stuff like that, and all the Godot people generally. And one of my main questions was, Meta provides an SDK right through it for their platform services and stuff like that. What does Android and Pico provide through that? Because for things like I'm providing, I need to provide subscriptions for what I'm developing. So being able to interface with some of the store APIs more directly is really important to me. And with Godot, that can get a little tricky. So I was wondering what support is provided about it.
So again, Android XR is Android. So all the APIs that work there are going to work somewhere else. So everything that works on mobile will work on Android XR. Right. And specifically, we do have Google Play services that allows things like scoreboards and achievements and so on. Whether or not we have that specific set of APIs for Godot, I am not sure. I can check and follow up and get back to you. But that, if it isn't, that is an amazing feature request, and our games DevRel team would love to take that on. So appreciate that.
Yeah, those are some great points. Yeah, Godot is also something that we want to put as a priority. I'd love to learn more in terms of what you're thinking about, what features these Godot tribes would like to support. Come by the booth, because I would love to learn it. We also have our product managers that would love to speak with you more about that.
All right, one last question.
Okay.
Oh, this guy.
Oh, me again? Okay. Thank you. The microphone. Okay. This is just a question specifically for someone who might be in the know, but is there anything or is there anyone that maybe knows anything about a feature for Android XR being built so that you can, or in one way or another, that can allow you to speak into glasses and allow them to generate environments and experiences based on AI input via like voice commands? Because I think that would be a really great path toward like improving spatialization of content in 3D on glasses and headsets and such.
Yeah, I think from our previous hackathons, we had many experiences where people wanted to use different AI platforms like 11 Labs to do voice, but then also incorporate World Labs models in our headset.
Okay.
So generative procedural worlds. One really great experience is some of the developers sitting right here on the front row. They designed Monument Valley, where they had an AI generative assistant that would teach you about Monument Valley through the Native American lens. But they also incorporate a lot of AI features to these voice prompt responses to you. So yeah, all those use cases, I think that's really where we're headed in terms of generative AI and being able to visualize them, being able to listen to them, and also specifically give feedback to us is pretty amazing. So I think that's why all of you are here today.
Thank you.
So I don't necessarily see that as an Android XR specific thing. I think
More
that
agnostic.
there's a lot of developers out there that are not just in XR that can take advantage of generating either 3D assets or images and so on. And obviously, for Google, we're going to be biased towards Gemini, and we're tweaking and improving it. And it's one of the, I think it's one of the best ways to approach it. We showed examples of generating 3D content in even games. And I think, I think it's pretty obvious from the earlier discussions, like things are still really early. I think these models are improving, and over time they'll get better and better. So I think there'll be more and more opportunities for developers to create content. But yeah, I mean, all the pieces are there. I think it's going to keep getting better over time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So,
Glad I
time is
asked
up.
that. Glad I asked those
Big round of applause. So, we are at the end of the second part. We will now have let me just double check, 90-minute lunch break, which means that I will see all of you guys back at 1:30 p.m. And then we will wrap it up with the last talks about
Yes, Noah.
I'm Nick. I'm with Pico. I do their Community content.
Awesome.
Love the Reddits.
Thanks.
Email me your Reddit. I have like a
The subreddit or my name?
You know what, both.
Okay. You want me to email it to you? You want me to send it to you right now?
Yeah. And we'll have a Reddit.
Awesome. I'm one of the mods. I'm not the owner. I am one of his closest friends in XR, I think. Thanks. I'll email you.
I'm a Redditor.
It's r/augmented reality.
Yeah.
And my username is u/the Golden Leaper, because I was flown out to Magic Leap, and the Golden Leaper, like they gave me like this thing called like a Golden Leaper award. It like entitled me to a visit there. I got flown out.
I'm just gonna write it down.
Yeah,
what is it? So it's r/augmented reality.
Yeah, you're gonna put capital A in augmented. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be capital. And then it's all one word. There's no underscore or dash. And then my username, put u/ and type the Golden LEAPER, like Magic Leap, like a Magic Leaper.
Yeah, like a Magic Leaper.
Because they flew me out to their company and everything. I got a headset for free. Yeah, it was really awesome. Thanks. And what's your name again? Your name is Nicholas Anthony.
Yeah. Have you heard of this one?
I think so. What is it?
Yeah, it's,
Is it the Pico Spawn? Yeah.
It's the Pico starter device.
Awesome.
Always looking for quality.
This is going on YouTube, by the way. I already posted part 1 to the subreddit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a 45-minute video. This one is also going to be 45 minutes, it looks like. And then I'll probably be here for part of part 3. I'm going to be going to the Android XR workshop next after this at like 12:45. So I should be able to do part 3 just on time to be there. But I need to be there like 15 minutes before 1, which is perfect.
I will be here the entire event. We will be at the Pico booth. If you see me...
But that'll be tomorrow, right?
Yes.
The booths are open tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll see you there.
All right, bro. See you.
All right. I'll connect with you on Reddit. What's your username on Reddit?
Dvorak.
What is it?
Dvorak.
Oh, it's like your last name,
Yeah,
but with a
but
D.
if you just email me, then we can connect there. We should use it. And I got down your Reddit, so I'll message you.
Yeah, just PM me or send me put a post on there and I'll comment.
Once I heard you said you wanted to get all of the slides, I was like, okay, well, first of all, I will make sure that I get all the slides.
Well, for
I'll make sure that-
every single one of the talks, I mean. But I was hoping for all of the slides.
Well,
not just
for
the Pico. Not just Pico.
Well, I don't know about the other ones, but the
I'll
Pico
have to
one-
talk to someone who's the manager. That guy, the manager with the beard. I'll talk to him about that.
So you're here really on behalf of the sub. You're really trying to get all the
Actually, I'm just here because I wanted to come, but I am on behalf of the sub.
A real maven for it. I love that.
Thanks. I'm gonna put this in my wallet.
Hey,
Okay.
please do.
Thanks.
Zoom is the only thing that makes all of these events real.
All right, I'll see you later. I'm gonna be here for the next. I'll do part 3 in a minute.
I really like your question about building like a voice.
Voice commands to create content.
I was
Yeah.
actually working on the exact same thing.
You're on video. You're on YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
You're live. You're live.
I don't want to be like.
Oh, okay. I'll just point it away.
I'm actually a student at the Wharton School, so I was over the last semester I have been working on exactly the same thing.
Really? You've been working on exactly. Where do you work? AMD.
I am interning at AMD and I am studying at the Wharton School.
The Wharton School. Okay, but you intern for AMD or you work there?
I'm interning.
Okay, you're
interning there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, I was actually over the last semester I was building.
Yeah, I was always wondering. I was like always interested in the idea of being able to speak into my classes and tell them create this, and then I can experience it like a minute later or 2 minutes later.
That is exactly what I built. I mean,
Okay, that's awesome.
I mean, I can probably like show you a demo of it.
Yeah,
but like,
sure.
But it's basically like a 2 or 3 use cases. Like one was you can actually modify.
I want to see you post about this on Reddit when you're able to. When you're able to talk about it.
Oh, sure. So one was like an interior design use case where you could be like, can you like put a film there and like could you like put some furniture there and stuff like that.
Okay.
Then there was one where you could like modify.
What if I could just like create like an ARG I can walk through or something? Because I know those are really metagames are really big in XR.
You can create worlds and you can modify them in real time.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's like, so I was talking about more like, but I was wondering more like speaking into like my classes to create like a global native thing, like that, like any API, that work on an API on any pair of glasses, that like they can just share and be able to just do that when you want to build something. You say, okay, I want to see this, now make it, and I can experience it while I'm wearing the glasses, and I talk into them or the headset or whatever, and just makes it.
Absolutely, because
like walking down the street even, like a few like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think the primary idea is that the way we interact with in the virtual world, it's not going to be through like typing. It has to be through.
Yeah, I don't want to be typing in XR. Like I understand that Meta they created this thing.
I'll just. But thank you.
Awesome. I'll see you later. Okay, I'm gonna end this one.
was also solved a long time ago.
I'm gonna make part 3 now in a sec.
Some guys in